Welcome to the next episode of Unboxing Europe with Lena Shilling. Lena is the youngest member of the European Parliament. Unfortunately, one of the very few young people, but making a very strong and independent voice, mainly for climate. Lena, welcome.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
And please tell us a bit more. I know that you have been advocating a lot on climate action, and we see in different parts of the world, Europe, not only how much that is needed, but how did you come into politics, and what is it to be only 23 years old, young, very young, and already member of the European Parliament representing the Austrian people?
I think growing up, we all feel some sense of justice when we are children. We feel like we have this basic things we teach our children. We should respect each other. We should be okay with animals and the nature. It's like really the basic things that you find in every book for children. And then you grow up and you feel like, okay, the world's not working like that. And you realize we are lying to our children the whole time. And with that, I started when I was about 15 with climate activism. And I just grew up in the climate movement, in a globally one. And it really gave me a feeling of when young people stand up and believe in something, we actually can change something, because the systems that we see right now here in the European Parliament, but also in other parliaments, can be changed. And progressive people there make a real difference. So.
You know, that's on the far right and on these right conservative people that either don't believe or don't want to believe for wrong purposes on climate change, and how that is affecting, by the way, the poorer people, the people that need the most. Farmers are being affected, but also us in urban areas. Here in the European Parliament, we can see the smog every day. But you know that this portrait of the climate activist as someone that is against the world or someone that is against the economy, in the end, it's really about empathy. Empathy that you have with nature. By the way, it's not only about nature or saving the planet, it's rather about saving ourselves. And I think this is one of the points that has been missing some of the years ago, that is, the planet will evolve. And the planet, unfortunately, and some species won't. And one of our species might be ours and might be us. How can we actually convince young people, not only the young people that probably could agree with us, but the young people that disagree with us, that climate action is important to their lives as well?
I think connected with other questions. I'm not a climate activist because I like frogs or insects so much, but because it's a social question in the end. Like we see, you already mentioned, the people that are suffering most under the climate crisis are the ones that earn the less money or live in urban areas where they don't have enough fresh air and so on. So we see the people who are actually causing this crisis, the richest 10%, are not the ones that are suffering. And with that, you see a social question. And I think
social injustice also attached to the climate.
Justice is social justice in the end. And I think what we have to promote is that we are fighting for humans, for our livelihood, that we are fighting that all people have the opportunity of a better life and not taking away from something.
Yeah, and at the same time, we can generate good jobs, clean jobs. Yes. And also, it's also very important. Yesterday, in one of the hearings that we had with the commissioner designate for energy, he stated a number that was very impressive for me, but I believe it was even more impressive for the right-wing parties. That is, over the past 4 years, the Europeans saved more than 100 billion euros because we had renewable energy production and not actually buying oil and gas that is usually coming outside of Europe. Either it is from outside of the European Union in Europe, like Norway, but mainly from Arab countries, countries where the respect for human rights is not a thing. And this comes back to probably the last topic I wanted to address with you. I've been also, and for the last years, a human rights activist, someone that is very much engaged with international multilateral organizations. The Conference of Parties, COP, as young people know, is happening for the last 20, 30 years. How has it changed? How did this COP or the COPs change the world? What are your expectations? How is greenwashing working more for the people or more for the companies? And is really the multilateral system working for young people and for future generations?
No. I think right now we are facing a climate conference that takes place in Azerbaijan, a country that doesn't allow people to go in its streets to protest, that is closely connected to oil companies and is well known for corruption in fossil industries. So what can we do there? First, we can address it. We can go there as parliamentarians and fight for the people that are in prison. 300 political prisoners are right now in Azerbaijan that fight also on climate issues, on human rights issues, and so on. And second, of course, we need international conferences because we are facing an international climate crisis and we see catastrophes doesn't end at national borders. Would be nice like that, but it isn't. So what
Would be better for Europe, probably.
Maybe, but with the historic emissions, I'm not even sure. And right now we have to think about where is the place to decide on an international level how to solve the climate crisis and what we need to do. This COP will be about finance. And here's again the social justice aspect. We see the people suffering in the global south right now. We see also enough people suffering in Europe. But
we've just seen in Valencia what happened last week.
Yes, and for that we need enough money for adaptation and mitigation and help the people. It's not about just, shifting money somewhere. It's about really saving lives. And I think we have to address that. So my expectations for this climate conference aren't that high. I think it's important that we as parliamentarians use our voice to represent those who can't use their voice anymore. And at the same time, really try to achieve the very most, because in the end, in every of these fights, we have just to give our best. It's our own shot and it's our planet. So I think that's what we have to do now.
Completely agree with you. And if we want to fight for freedom across the globe, we need to fight for freedom here and not to being so much dependent, for example, on Russian gas, on other autonomies. And here we have the potential in a lot of countries like mine, where insularity is very good, so we could have much more solar energy. And this is kind of the integration that we need within the European Union. And hopefully we will go through this strategic autonomous Europe also as a renewable and green Europe. Lena, thank you very much for being with us. One last challenge, define your experience here in the European Parliament in one word.
In one word?
In one word.
Exciting. In the end, it's exciting.
That's good. This was Unboxing Europe with Lena Schilling.